How are you doing today? You all good? I'm still a little bit tired because in Austria it's now 3:30 in the morning. So I'm still a little bit tired because it's good morning for me. But I'm really happy that I can be here. I would like to thank the officials for inviting me here to be able to present. I had a couple of projects before in Vietnam, but especially during the COVID times, it was not possible to travel. So I have to admit, I'm really happy that I'm now able to travel again. I think we're all very happy that we can travel again and exchange, because those kind of events like we do today, this is only possible if you do it in person. If you do this online, I guess it's very boring. I think all of you have been through 2-3 years now of online teaching, and we're really happy that we're back and that we can travel again and that we can do these events here. And I think this is the only way how I can also help a little bit with my skills, with my experience, and share this experience with you. Because I think this is what it's all about today. I would like to share my experience, which I had for the past 17 years with you. And as you probably have seen in the introduction from my education, actually I have background in food and biotechnology. So I don't know which kind of mix is here from students from different backgrounds, but I want to say it's just no matter which background you have, when it comes to startups, when it comes to entrepreneurial ideas, there's no difference which background you come from. It's really open to nearly all the fields in the world. So even if you're sitting here now and thinking, I don't have an interesting idea, I don't know how to do that, I don't know how maybe to start a startup, or maybe you don't want to start a startup, but a lot of those entrepreneurial skills that can help you a lot to move forward in life. This can help you with a regular job, this can help you in your private life, and this is really what I want to share. And I would really like to thank my previous speaker, because this was a perfect introduction. Thank you very much for this. Because the same situation, what you were describing for Vietnam, that's more or less the same situation we have around the world. The economy is changing, the economy is strongly changing. We've just been through a huge crisis, medical crisis. Now let's see how the economic crisis will hit. In Europe we already have the economic crisis. And I'm on the opinion that creating startups, having these small structures, this is one way to battle these challenges. This is one way how young people, but also experienced people, and don't get me wrong, I have here a beautiful audience of a lot of young people, but startups are not only for the young ones. Also, when you look at the first row, everybody can create a startup. And I have afterwards a couple of examples with me, also from other countries, where you can see that also people who retired, they created wonderful startups with a huge impact. So age is absolutely no matter. This is the beautiful thing about startups. It's a beautiful thing of using this instrument to actually react to a worldwide situation. And I hope that young people like you here, that you will help us all to basically overcome this economic crisis and also to create the solutions of the future. Because that's what it is. That's what all these startups are all about. And also thank you for mentioning the internationalization. This is extremely important. And this is how you are connected, how I'm connected to the world. Because a lot of startups, there are startups that have a national impact, there may be some smaller startups that just have a regional impact, but there's a lot of startups that do have a worldwide impact. So this internationalization and this sharing of experience, especially in this new digital world, this is really important. This is of utmost importance. This is what I would really like to underline. And this is really also why we're teaching here today. So I hope my introduction helps you a little bit. Are we right there? Wonderful. Good. Thank you also for the brief introduction before about myself. I'm the CEO of Sumo Technologies. As you can see from our starting screen, we're mainly in training, in consulting, and in project management. And that's a huge and very broad field. So I do this with startups, but we do it also with the wonderful Increase project, in which frame we are here. So this is a huge, huge topic. You saw this slide already. As I said, food and biotech is the background. However, from there I started to develop in a completely different direction. I went into research management. And in Europe, we have really nice international programs which fund a lot of research activities and also educational activities that help us actually connect to each other. And it's usually scientists. It's scientists from completely different areas. So we have projects in the food area, the biotech area, energy area, now in pure digitalization, in education. So no matter which area it comes from. And you have a lot of experts. You have experts from different countries, you have experts from university, you have experts from companies, you have experts from NGOs, you have experts from ministries. And usually our job is to bring together those experts. Bring them together and help them to manage their projects together. They are the experts in their field, but very often the issue is bringing them together to work into one direction. That's very often the issue. And that's why you can also see on this slide some administrative tasks. So very often I'm also tasked with the little bit boring, and Federica can confirm that, a little bit boring task of financial management. But money is always important, but still, that usually also lands on my table. I have to do that as well. And I am IPMA certified. IPMA is an International Project Management Association. We currently have no member association here in Vietnam, but I talked to my colleagues from there, and that is also one thing they're working on. I'll have a couple of slides on them as well, because for me, project management, that's basically the step towards managing not only the projects, but also managing startups, managing companies, and also managing your private life. So there's a lot of things that are related to project management. Need I quickly hand over to my colleague to introduce herself as well.
Hello everybody. Great. Alright, so yes, I have been briefly introduced, thank you very much. But what wasn't included here was also that I also have a food background in food biotechnology. And then as Vanya said, it comes from science, so it comes from innovation, what we can do. I am now a project manager in food and business innovation, so we use the scientific background to create innovation, to make a better business. We are usually also working with universities and students like yourself and bringing that knowledge the companies and to the workforce. And I think the rest you already saw before. I will hand back to Rainer briefly, and thank you for having us.
Good. Then, I would say let's get started. What do I want you to get from this whole thing here? I would really like that everybody, when you leave today, that you have some new ideas. If each and every one of you has simply one new idea out of my presentation, I'm happy, then I'm good, then I reached my goal. But this is really what I would like to have from you, that you benefit from ideas. I'm happy to share all my ideas with you. I'm happy if in between my talk you have any question, please stand up, raise your hand, because this is all about exchanging ideas, exchanging experience. And that's the second thing. I would like to share my experience with you. The experience of the last 17 years, my experience as a project manager, my experience on the one side of consulting startups, of supporting startups, but on the other hand, and I have this dual role. On the one side, I'm a consultant. I consult those startups, but on the other hand, I have my own startups. So I have to manage it myself. It's also my daily life. I go through the startup procedure every day because I have currently 2 startups which are more in the early stage. And I think this is the interesting part. To be on the one side, the one supporting these organizations, on the other side, going through the same experience. And this is also something that I would advise you. if you ever get the chance to go through this experience, even if you say, I don't want to become self-employed, I don't want to create a startup, if somebody in your friendship, somebody in your family, somebody in your university is creating a startup and you get the chance to participate, I do highly recommend to at least walk part of the way together with them and to share the experience, to see what they're doing. And believe me, every startup is quite unique. And every startup has new challenges, every startup has its new ways of how to solve issues, and that is very interesting. This is why we're doing this. I hope also it is a little bit entertaining. I can obviously be not as entertaining as the music groups before. Sorry, I cannot dance, I cannot sing. I'm not gonna bother you with dancing or singing. I try to impress you with the startups that I'm going to present. However, what I have to say is, I'm a trained project manager. Anything related to entrepreneurship is self-made. I'm not a trained entrepreneur. I don't have a business background. This is what I learned by myself. This is what I learned in the last couple of years. And this shows you do not necessarily need a business background to do business. It is easier. However, there's a lot of things you can learn at the side. So you can finish your studies no matter what you're studying, and if you get the opportunity to also get some business education, I highly advise to get it, and the rest by simply doing business. So, it might be that some things that I'm telling you does not necessarily fit the textbook. You can look through and you find enough information when you look through Google, support for startups, if you look through the startup libraries and so on, and there might be contradicting information, there might be similar information, there might be different information that I'm presenting to you, but I'm just saying I'm sharing my experience with you. And I don't want to hear anything like that in a year somebody comes back and says like, Rainer, I've been to Vietnam last time, and the students were complaining that you taught them something but was not true. I don't want to hear that, because simply I'm teaching my way. And this is my experience, and it might be that others, especially when you look for teachers from economics, teach in a different way, they might teach different methods. I can just share what I experienced in the past 17 years. And it's what is also very important is I cannot give you a standard solution. When it comes to startups, when it comes to today's world, there are no standard solutions. The economy is changing, the world is changing, climate is changing, a lot of things are changing. We can try with the set of skills that we have and with the tools that we have to simply approach these challenges. And this is really what I think also all the teachers here at the university are trying to do. Equip you with a set of skills, equip you with a set of tools, and then it's up to you to correctly apply it and to see what you can make out of that. So there is no standard solution, especially when we talk about startups. There is no standard solution. That's what makes a startup so extremely interesting. Just very quickly about my company. As I mentioned before already, we're in consulting and mainly research management. When I founded the company in 2018, it still had a slightly different purpose. As I mentioned, I come from the food background. And at that time, we were only consulting in the food business, and we were consulting in the area of auditing of food businesses, quality assurance. Those of you know a little bit about food technology or have just a general understanding, every company that produces food, no matter if that is juices, if this is fruits, if this is meat, all of them obviously have to comply with certain standards. And we were helping those organizations in complying with these standards. We had experts in our company that were helping to comply, that were doing auditing, that were providing also digital tools. And that was also how I actually entered this area of the digital startups and the digital tools. But at the beginning, it was purely focused on this food area. However, then we changed. We made it bigger, we made it broader. We went away from purely focusing on these businesses. And today, our clients are from universities, our clients are from research,
Our clients are from startups, from big companies, from ministries. I also teach at university. I teach research management at the applied university and at the main university in Vienna. So there's a lot of organizations that can benefit from this skills. Very often, as I said, we are called in when organizations want to do a new project. They call us in and they need support. They usually are the experts. So for example, I'm always depending on people like you. I'm not an expert in your field. I don't know exactly what your expertise always is, but you might come to me and ask me, Ryan, we would like to develop a new project, and then I can help you with your expertise to develop the project. So it always needs both. It needs a consultant, it needs a project manager, but on the other hand, I'm heavily depending on the academic experts. This is very, very important for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do the projects. I'm really, really depending on guys like you. What we also do is, I guess most of you know when it comes to literature, when it comes to research data, the concept of open access.